welcome to Kind Hearts, Strong Souls podcast, where reality and courage take the mic and hope leads the way.
The conversation of three friends united by work and held together by mutual care and support. Join Jodi as she moves through the challenges of a cancer diagnosis. The conversation is frank and honest, while also being caring and supportive. The voices explore the real pain and fear of cancer, the strength of faith and friendship and hope and optimism that shines even in life's darkest hours. Whether you're a survivor, a supporter, or simply someone in need of inspiration, this conversation will remind you that even when the road is very hard, hope is harder to break. Hello, everyone, and welcome to, believe it or not, Season 2, Episode 1 of our podcast. And today we're really privileged to have with us Jim DeFilippi. He is Jodi's former teacher from high school, which is, it's probably not appropriate for me to say how many years ago, but it's a little bit of a while ago. And Jim was instrumental in helping Jodi pull together her journal entries and that sort of thing for her book, Jodi's Journey, which is, of course, the genesis of where our podcast comes from. So he's going to be with us today to talk about not only Jodi, but the experience of writing a book and that sort of thing, and just that general question back and forth that we do when we have people together with us. So I'm not going to go any further. I'm going to let Jodi introduce him and welcome him.
Well, thanks, Ken. Good morning, everyone. And yeah, welcome to Season 2, Episode 1. It's hard to believe we're here already.
Mm-hmm.
Here we are. I am excited to announce our guest speaker today. As Ken mentioned, he is my former high school teacher at Winooski High, Jim DeFilippi. We affectionately know him as Mr. D. Mr. D has, he was in my life throughout my high school years, stayed in touch through the Facebook world, and a mutual friend of ours, actually it was another former student of Mr. D, came down with cancer, and she ultimately passed away. And Mr. D wrote a book, I don't know if it's a tribute book, but he can talk more about it. A book about, her name was Jamie Lynn Taylor, a book about Jamie Lynn. She used to keep journals and Facebook posts and stuff like that. And Mr. D turned all of that into a book for her. And he was instrumental in helping me turn all of my journal entries into a book and learning the process and the editing. And it's quite a process. Mr. D knows because he himself is an author and a podcaster. And he'll probably mention some of his books and his podcast, which is perfectly fine. We love to collaborate. I don't want to tell you too much about him. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce I don't even know what guest this is, but Mr. Jim DeFilippi. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Jodi. Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Yeah, and I also forgot to mention, along with writing his own stuff, Mr. D also wrote the foreword for my book. So if you've bought my book and you read the foreword, those are words that came from Mr. D.
Yeah, thanks, Jodi. There's so many things are springing into my mind as you're talking. One is the fact that you've gotten to Season 2 is wonderful. I've been doing some research. As you know, I do my own podcast too.
Yes.
And it's something like 90% of them die after the second episode. So you and I are in the top 1% of podcasters just in longevity. Maybe we're not getting the 2 million hits that the other places are, but longevity-wise, you and I are stars of YouTube, stars of the podcast.
We love that.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Superstars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
what makes you
something.
think we're not getting a million hits?
Well, that's true too. Yeah, maybe you are. And mentioning Jodi Lynn, thanks. I mean Jamie Lynn. I keep getting the names wrong. Jamie Lynn was a wonderful person, and she really wrote the book. I helped her out, and I edited it and put it together and things like that, which I still love doing with writers and with students. But it's called Jamie's book, and the proceeds go to her organization called, I think it's Say Goodbye to Cancer or something like that. I forget,
Yeah.
but you can find that book as well as Jodi's book on Netflix. Here I am doing a commercial. I'll shut up and let you people run the show
Amazon,
again.
not
You
Netflix.
can tell I'm a teacher because I just take
Yes.
control of everything, and everybody
Yeah.
else has to shut up. I'll be quiet.
You're doing great. Tell us a little bit about young Jodi.
Ooh.
I've known Jodi for 5 years, so in comparison, you've got maybe 9 or 10 times the time of knowing her.
Yeah.
I guess I did the math wrong because she's 39, but
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about what you remember of
Yeah,
younger
no, I
Jodi.
just remember as a very quiet. I didn't know her well. She was not a boisterous student by any means. She wasn't going to run up to the top of the class. I think I had her in journalism, and she's just quiet, confident. It was a different, not so much in Jodi's term, but when I first got there, I started teaching in Winooski in 1974, and this sounds horrible to say, but the girl students were really second class citizens. A girl was judged on who her boyfriend was, and how popular she was. I'm thankful to say that over the years, by the time I retired, because of people like Jodi and others, that all changed. It was equal footing for both male and female students. You weren't judged by who you were dating. You were judged by how talented and strong and good and helpful you were, which was great. And Jodi helped that process, although she came along a lot later than when it was at its worst in the early 70s.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Our attitudes toward women and sexes have changed a lot in those years. Yeah, yeah. So do you remember Jodi as kind of a quiet student? Is that correct?
I do, yeah. Wasn't standout, not quiet, a confident. I think there was a confidence there, but a quiet confidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I was, believe it or not, very shy and quiet in high
Yeah.
school.
That's interesting. When people say shy, Bing, you come right to my mind.
Not anymore.
Not exactly.
Anyway,
Was there any signs of her courage early on? We see so much strength and courage and faith.
I have
now.
to say I was completely unprepared for that. When Jodi and I reconnected years later, I got a much deeper view and admiration and understanding of who she was. Even in a small school like Winooski, you've got 100 students a day, and you've got that 100 for I did it for 30 years, something like that. But no, it was much later that I saw the resilience and love and strength of this woman.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Jim, you mentioned that you would like to perhaps read from the introduction that you wrote to Jodi's book.
Oh,
Would
I'd
you like
love
to
to
do
do that. Yeah, thank you. Jodi was nice enough to let me do the forward to her book. And as an English teacher, I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I always thought a forward of a book was spelled FORWARD, like looking forward. And it's only within the last few years, as an old man, I realized no, it's spelled FOREWORD. It's the forward. So I made a mistake, but it was a good mistake on the forward of Jodi's. But let me read it for you. I like it a lot. It says, "It didn't take 30 years of teaching to convince me that my students were a lot smarter than me, and tougher. Don't believe me? Read this book by Jodi Bouchard. I knew her as Jodi Bergeron back at Winooski High School. Now, some 30 years later, stung but not defeated by cancer, Jodi has written a book of struggle, acceptance, and hope. Her world is her husband, kids, family, and friends. It leaves little time for her to feel sorry for herself. It is fitting and proper that this little nibble of mine is called a forward, not a foreword, but a forward, because that's the direction Jodi is looking. That's where her life is heading. Like Jodi herself, this book is tough, tender, gentle, and brave. Uncertainty outweighed by courage. I understand that these days it's deemed inappropriate to call a grown woman a girl, but the word girl is innocent, nimble, and beautiful. A girl is a person with a whole life before her. So God bless you, girl. May God forever bless you, Jodi. And that was my forward. Thank you for letting me read that. I like that. I'm proud of that.
That's
Mm.
beautiful.
I'm proud of that too, Mr. D. I've read that
Yeah.
over so many times, I can't even tell you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What made you say yes to telling the story, co-authoring, and helping Jodi with the book?
Yeah, as much as I love writing books, I love helping, and I'm still doing it. I've been doing it, since a young man. Not only do the writing, but the formatting. Jodi, you had never done anything with Amazon KDP before we started working together, did you?
No, never, Mr. D. You were the one that sent me in that direction.
What's KDP when you said
Mm.
Amazon?
It stands for
KDP?
Kindle Direct Publishing, and it's an Amazon company. A lot of people badmouth Amazon because they do stomp on a lot of small businesses. But this KDP program they have, again, Kindle Direct Publishing, is just wonderful. The main thing is it's free. Okay. There's a million weasels out there. If you've written a book, who will try to help you, really, by helping means get your money, marketing it, directing it, formatting it, and it's all free at KDP. What Amazon does is they take a small royalty for anything you sell, but that's all. And so I would recommend any future writers out there, if they're writing about a struggle with cancer or anything else, don't spend a dime. Do it yourself. Go to KDP. Like Jodi will tell you, it's tricky. You've got to get the right margins and format and pictures and things like that. But she did it with a little bit of my help, but she put it together. And with, I think, your help too, Brenda, I'm not sure, but she did it and she got the book out there. And it's a beautiful book. You should show it to the audience, Jodi, or maybe you have in previous episodes.
Yeah, we've dropped links in our podcast. And so we'll do the same today. We'll drop a link down.
And we feel like this is the sequel, if you will, to her
Yes.
book. That,
This is.
and maybe a little bit less stressful way for Jodi to continue telling her story. And for us to be selfish enough to keep the contact with Jodi and keep the friendship blossoming. And so it's just been really lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you were in Jodi's early life, what I'm going to be bold enough to say we are in her later life, an encourager or somebody that kind of stood by her and maybe saw things in her that she didn't see in herself. They say that leaders and teachers are those that see potentials in others. Talk to us a little bit about that in your role as a teacher.
Yeah, that's true. I hope I encouraged Jodi and encouraged all of my students to move forward and write and be all around students. That's so much more important than me teaching them what a sentence is or what a gerund is. If you can teach your students how to write and how to live life, really, That's most important. And I like to think you do that more by example as a teacher than by instruction. You can tell them, be good. There's a golden rule. But it's more than that. It's how you see someone in the lunchroom, or how you pick them up when they fall or when they're having trouble and things like that. Jodi was not a troublemaker. Let me make that perfectly clear. But yeah, I like to think we did a little inspiration there. As much as I like writing, I love helping other writers. I haven't written a book in about a year, and which is a lot for me. I've written 40 books. I used to put sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 out in a year. And just last year I decided I'm enjoying more helping other writers. So I'm still doing that. I'll help them with their writing, with the formatting, and the natural talent is there. You just have to kind of cultivate it and feed it and water it. And with Jodi, it obviously was. If anybody's read that book, it started out as a journal, and it's still, it takes the journal form, but it's got form, it's got function. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, Jodi, and you should be very proud of it, as I'm proud of you.
Very
Oh,
good.
thank you, Mr. D. Thank you so
you're
much.
welcome.
Can I ask a off question? How do you feel about AI, Mr. D?
Yeah.
Boy,
Do you use it in your writing?
I have a grandson who absolutely hates it. If I even mention it to him, he goes off the wall. And a lot of people do. I have to admit, I have been using it. I'm not to write books. No, I think that'll never be replaced. But as a just solver of problems, it's simply amazing. I don't know if you remember Matt Goslin, Jodi. Was he before your time at?
He was before me, but I do remember him, his name.
He now is making a lot of money and working very hard, working for an AI company. I forget the name of it. But what Matt does is he travels all over the world, and he talks to even heads of state and things like that, showing them how to use AI. So I never like to get Matt together with Jamie, who's my grandson, because they wouldn't agree at all on it. And I'm somewhere in the middle. It can be sneaky too, though. As a writer, and I was never a commercially successful writer, but I wrote a lot of books, and I constantly get these emails that say, Jim, we read your book about Martha Gellhorn, and we were so impressed. We love the scene where she does this and that, and we'd love to help you market it. Well, I know they want my money, but my first thought was, wow, at least she read the book. She understands what I was doing. And then the next day I realized she didn't read that book. She just fed it into AI, and they just spat back all the nice things about it, just trying to get me to open my wallet. So you have to be careful with AI, obviously. Very sneaky. There's a lot of weasels out there using it to try to get you to open your pocketbook. But on the other hand, if you use it selectively and carefully, it can work. For example, I'll have a line of a song that I love, and I don't know what song it is. I'll ask AI, and they'll come back with what song it is and who recorded it and everything else. So it is amazing. It's going to be a changing world, definitely.
Yeah.
Did you also write for the Burlington Free Press?
I did. If you're very, very old, you remember I did a humor column for them for about 5 or 6 years.
What was the column called?
I don't know if it was just my name. It started as something called vignettes, and it was a bunch of different writers. And every Sunday in the Sunday Free Press, we'd write a short little, I don't know, 1,000-word, 400-word work. And then they gave me the whole thing. And I think it was just called James DeFilippi. And yeah, a lot of people still remember that, which is amazing. That's another nice thing about writing is people remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you're a funny guy, Mr. D.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be like Joe Pesci now in Goodfellas. Funny, Funny how? Like I'm a
Yeah.
clown? I amuse you?
It's funny,
I don't know if you
ha
saw that
Funny.
scene. It's a wonderful, wonderful scene. Whenever someone pays me a compliment and says, "Oh, Mr. D, you're very funny," I go into my Joe Pesci,
Yep.
and
I
I
love
always hope
that.
I don't offend them. But if they've seen the movie, they know what I'm talking
He
about.
They'll
was an
start repeating it
attorney,
back.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And Herman Monster was the judge, I think. I believe.
Oh, no, you've switched
No,
movies now.
oh.
You've
Oh no,
switched to My
that's
Cousin Vinny,
Vinny.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
which is another funny Joe
Funny
Pesci.
movie.
Here we are
Yes.
talking instead about talking
Sorry,
about
Jodi.
Jodi, you be quiet. We'll talk about Joe
I was
Pesci.
going to say, yeah.
And my favorite line in Cousin Vinny is he says, "These two Utes." And
Utes.
yeah, Herman Munster says, "These two what? These two Utes. They're good kids. They're just Utes." But anyway, I have a feeling we're not going to have trouble filling up our 40 or 50 minutes here.
No, I don't
No,
think
not
so.
at all.
But
I
maybe
don't
we
think so.
better get back to what we're here for, and that's Jodi and her struggles and her brilliance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you
So-
hope other students or young adults learn from Jodi's journey and example?
Gee, I think it's a wonderful book of inspiration. You know, it's so often, I hate to say it, but a cancer diagnosis like Jodi's sounds like the end of the line. You know, you start writing people off, and that's a horrible mistake that we all make. Did it with Jamie Lynn, did it with Jodi, and I think they show us that no, this is just the beginning. This is a forward, as I say, very inspirational, very wonderful anecdote, or not anecdote. What's the word? When you have something for a disease. What's the word am I thinking of? Not
Antidote.
Thank you.
Antidote.
Yeah, that's it. For a writer, you'd think I'd know some words, but as an 82-year-old writer, I tend to slip my mind. When you two were introduced, Brenda and Ken, I jotted your names down quickly because my short-term memory is not what it used to be. Although I see Zoom is nice enough to put your names right in the bottom of the screen, so we can always remember
If
that.
you zoom in.
Jodi, I hope I'm getting your last name right. Do I pronounce it right? Bashand?
Bashand. Yep.
Bashand, okay.
Bashand. Yep. And also, Mr. D, I wanted to tell you, along the lines of Jamie Lynn, and I know this name will ring a bell, Handsome Will. Handsome Will. Handsome Will was Jamie Lynn's husband, and she wrote about him a lot.
Yeah.
And he went on, and I don't know if you know this, Mr. D, he went on to become an oncology nurse.
Oh, really?
In fact,
No way.
when I was in the hospital for my internal bleed, Handsome Will was my nurse.
Oh,
way.
isn't that wonderful? I
Yeah.
never met him personally, but
You love
Jamie
him.
Lynn just idolized him. And when I've contacted him, I haven't really connected with him, but I had no idea he was doing that. And I
He
bet
did that. Yep.
I
Yeah,
bet
and he
that
was
was
my
the
nurse.
inspiration, don't you think? It
It
was.
was the inspiration because I asked him, and
Oh,
and then I
wonderful.
just recently saw him again in August. Brenda, Jamie Lynn's mom, who introduced Stephen and I, passed away, and we had the privilege of going to see her and talking to her before she
Great.
passed. And Handsome Will was also there
Oh,
throughout the whole thing, and for the Taylor sisters, to help Brenda. It was just very heartwarming. And so I got to see him again just recently. So
nice.
I wanted to share that bit of information. I didn't know if you knew that.
No, I didn't know it. It makes me feel
Yeah.
really good. Give me the
Yeah.
name of Jamie Lynn's sisters again.
She's got Angel
Oh, yeah.
Taylor,
Maybe there's
Brenna,
what's that?
and Brenna,
Okay.
and Ashley is the youngest.
That's right. Yeah,
Yep.
wonderful family. So many
Yep.
wonderful families in Winooski, aren't
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. There
it's a
sure
special
are.
it's a special town. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, so he did that in honor of Jamie Lynn. He wanted to become an oncology nurse, and he
Oh,
still
that's
is.
great.
Yeah,
And
he
you
still
know,
is.
and every journal entry, she would always call him my handsome
So
husband. Yeah.
yeah, or my handsome Will, or
Yeah.
handsome
Oh,
Will
that's great.
Danner.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
And Jodi, putting you on your spot, your husband has also been a great support. I can tell by reading in the books, hasn't he?
very big. I mean, he is the reason I'm here today. He really is.
Really?
He actually we had a podcast with Stephen on it, and he talked about his journey with me and going through all of this and his struggles. And you lose sight of that as a patient because you're fighting your own battles, and y- all you want to do is make sure he's there for you, and you kind of forget that he's also struggling and having a hard time, and I'm not there to talk to him, so
Yeah.
he had his own little journey going on his own, and he's amazing. He's just amazing. I said on the podcast earlier that when I married him, I knew I was marrying the right person, because I wouldn't have married him otherwise. He stepped up to above and beyond, and beyond.
Wow, that's
You
wonderful.
And
And I'm
continues
sure
to do so.
he's a
Yeah.
good father
Yes,
too, I'm sure.
amazing father. We are our new
And grandfather.
grandparents. Yes, we are
Oh,
very new
congratulations.
grandparents. Thank you. And he is an amazing grandfather.
Oh, that's
He
great.
yeah,
You're
we're
gonna
having
love being
fun.
being a grandparent is so great. I just love it. It's a wonderful time of life. But on the downside, I don't believe he's a Winooski boy, is he?
My son,
No, no, your husband.
my husband is a Flatlander. Yes, he is
Oh,
from Connecticut.
oh,
But
okay.
he
Yep.
loves Vermont.
But he went to college at Vermont Tech and never went back.
Oh,
So
that's great. Yeah,
he loved it here.
my old friends like Mr. Brigani and Jim Carter and people like that give me a hard time because I'm also a flatlander. I came up from a
Yes.
little neighborhood outside of New York City called Duck Alley, and yeah, they don't let you forget it.
No, no, no. It doesn't matter how long you live here, you're always going to be a
No, that's right.
Flatlander. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter was born in Vermont, but my son was about 3 months old when we moved to Vermont, so he's a flatlander.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a unique town
Yes.
and
That's
state.
that's great.
Hmm.
How did these things affect you personally, sir, when you realize that you've had this place in people's lives to not only bring together their memories, but bring together their experiences and pull them together in book form or in story form? What does that mean to you?
Oh, it just means the world to me. It's a wonderful thing. I think of growing up before there was technology, and of so many teachers. I wish I could have said, you taught me this and you taught me that, and I never had a chance to do that. Uh, on Facebook and the other social medias, I'm constantly getting rejuvenated by students remembering things and telling me a story about our past and things like that. It's a great feeling that you've influenced people a little bit like that, and it's constant, and it's really good. And that's beyond the writing. Mostly, I've taught them, or not taught them, but shown them the art of writing and the benefits of writing, how it can be, oh, I don't know, beneficial emotionally and even physically. So that's a great part of it. So it's good. It made me feel awful proud. I'm so glad to be in a position I am. I think the reason I'm 82 years old and still kind of jumping around and feeling pretty good about things is the juice that I get every day from people like Jodi and
Hmm.
other past students. It really helps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
attest that, while I don't really stalk Mr. D's Facebook page, I do read some of his comments from time to time. And he does. He gets, I mean, I read comments from students I went to school with and students that were after me and before me. Um, and he's right there. It's all praise for Mr. D. You know, in my memory of Mr. D, um, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being in his classroom. He's right. I was quiet and shy. Didn't really say a lot, but I, I was the sieve. I was just
Sponge.
collecting, yes, everything in my head, and I was very endeared to certain teachers. Mr. D being one of them. Mrs. Leary, we talked about earlier. She was another one of my teachers I was very endeared with. I don't know if you remember Miss Gassman. Um, she was like the physical ed teacher. She might have came later.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, Miss Gassman, I loved her. So there's certain teachers I still speak fondly of, and Mr. D being one of them. Obviously, I've always been interested in writing, and I attribute that to his class. I mean, I never really was a writer until a journalism class came about. And then all of a sudden, I think, Mr. D, what you taught me the most was I could write whatever I wanted, and I didn't necessarily have to do anything with it. I could, if I was mad at something, I could write it down on paper and put it somewhere and leave it there. And but it would get it off my head. It would get it out of my conscience. And so, and that's how I kind of evolved into my writing journals and stuff, was more so getting it out of my head onto a piece of paper. And then maybe one day I'll do something with it, and maybe one day I won't.
Oh, that's wonderful. It really is a Carthaginian or whatever the
Yeah.
word is. Sometimes it actually prevents arguments or confrontations. I don't know if you've
Right.
ever had an argument with your spouse, but if you sometimes, instead of shouting out those words, you
Hmm.
just quietly retire to your room and write them down and then throw that piece of paper away, it,
Yes.
it works just as well. And meanwhile, that you've got a spouse who isn't angry at you, haven't been offended. I wasn't sure if you were a writer from your high school years until your journey started. But when
No,
did you start your journal, before you were diagnosed, Jodi, or afterwards? Or
I started journaling shortly after I graduated from high school.
oh,
I've
great.
journaled for a long. Like I said, I attribute it to your journalism class. I've been journaling since for a long time because I learned, because you taught me, and I don't know if you taught me directly or indirectly, but what I took from your class was if I can write anything I want down, anything.
Right.
And it, like I said, it can stay here with me, or I can mail it, or I can hand it to somebody, or
Yeah.
whatever. It could be a love note, whatever. And so as a result of that, I just started journaling daily, just thoughts and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I've been doing it since I graduated.
Oh,
Mm.
that's wonderful. And
Yeah.
I didn't teach you this, but one of the most wonderful things about your writing is your honesty. In your book, Jodi's Journal, you give the horrible parts, but you also give the good parts. You also tell a lot of the funny parts. It's a complete honest example of what your life has been like. And I think that's probably the most important thing. Even if you're writing fiction, uh, there has to be a certain honesty there. And honesty involves conflicting emotions, you know. And I'm sure
Mm.
you've had a ton of conflicting emotions in your journey, and
Yeah.
you verbalize those beautifully on paper.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the beautiful thing about journaling is it's in real time. So you capture it in real time, and you tend to be more honest in real
Yeah.
time. At least I do anyway.
Not
Mm.
only
So,
your book and Jamie Lynn's book, but a lot of best-selling books have taken the form of the journal, even some novels that completely made up. There's something nice about the daily structure of this is what happened on January 4th, and now here's January 7th. It's just a nice chronological way of putting thoughts and conflicting emotions together. And you did it
hmm,
beautifully in your book.
thank you. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
That's
I
one
think
of
there's
the.
a
Oh, go ahead, Ken.
no, please, please, Brenda.
Well, I was just gonna say when Mr. D said honesty, and for me, it's her genuineness, and it comes across in every podcast. It's wonderful to hear that it was so prevalent in her book as well. It
Mm.
helps people, and
Mm.
I'm just sitting here with listening to two people that help people. You know, Jodi's helping so many people with her book and her podcast, and Mr. D, you're helping people get their books out.
Yeah.
um, so that resonates with me. I like
Yeah.
helping
Thank
people.
you.
Ken does too. So it's all good.
Good.
I was thinking that there's nothing quite as cathartic as those resignation letters that I never sent.
Yeah.
Ah,
You
Right.
know, every now and
Or
then,
Ken.
emails.
every now
Yeah.
and then, yeah, I've written maybe two of them or three of them, and had something in me that said, you better hold on to this for 2 or 3 days before you send it, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days, the world looked a little bit different.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
that's the other nice thing about writing is you always get a chance, if you haven't published it, to rewrite it, or if you haven't slipped that nasty note to your boss's desk, you have a couple of days to think about it and
right,
either rewrite it or better yet, maybe tear it up and throw it away.
right,
Yeah,
rethink it. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
rethink it is
yeah. Why
exactly
did I
right.
think that? Yeah, right. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is that quality, though, that cathartic quality to writing and
Mhm.
and putting things down, whether it be a resignation letter or whether it be our own story. And I think that's part of what Jodi's been able to do by being so frank and by being so direct. And we believe that is helpful to others that are going through those same emotions and feelings and distresses, so to speak. We said it earlier that even the word cancer creates a certain um, picture in our brain, almost a finality in our brain. And I think those of us that are around Jodi realize that she doesn't have finality at all in her vocabulary, right? She's
Yeah.
Nope.
she's a she's a very forward person, to go back to that word.
Mhm.
So we appreciate that so much about her.
Yeah, maybe it was coming off my experience with Jamie Lynn, but I hate to say it, Jodi, but when we first started talking about your diagnosis, I wasn't at all sure you were going to be a survivor or not, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mr. D, I wasn't sure either, to be quite
Hmm.
honest with you. And it's been a fight. I won't lie. Still is. Not like it was when I was going through surgeries and bleeds and hospitalizations and that. But it's still a fight. I still have my daily battles and chemo and
20 something pills a day. And
yeah, 20
Yeah.
something pills a day. And I feel like they keep adding on more. And
Mm.
Yeah.
so, but, I have a good life and I really, really, really want to stay in it as long as God is willing to let me stay here.
Oh, that's
This is
great.
where I want to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's where we wanna have you. The
Yeah.
advances in cancer treatment have been so amazing.
Yep.
Do you remember Mr. Krasnow, Jody, the
Yeah.
guidance
Yeah.
counselor? He got,
Yes.
a wonderful guy, terrific guy, and he
Yes.
got pancreatic cancer, and in his day, when you heard that word, you started counting your months and counting your years, you know?
Yeah.
Now, even pancreatic cancer is survivable, and it's
Mm.
just one, and your cancer is survivable. So yeah, there's always a a light at the end of the tunnel, a little glimmer of hope, or more than a glimmer, a bonfire of hope, because of the advances of science, medical science. So I'm glad they do it. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're in a good place with science and everything. And there's all kinds of new studies and researches and pills. And one day there will be a cure for GIST. And I will be happy for that patient. I really will.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely.
All of us. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I ask a question to Jodi and Mr. D? What did we
Yeah.
not ask? What do you want to tell that we didn't cover already?
You go ahead, Jodi. I'll have to think about that.
You'll have to think.
Oh no, I know. I wanted to put in a plug for
Oh,
my
yes.
podcast. Yeah, there you can see it right above my shoulder there. It's
Blue
called
Smoke
Blue
and
Smoke and
Black
Black
Ink.
Ink.
Yep.
It's one a week, 30 minutes long, and I interview friends and famous both writers. Let me go get the book here. A few years ago, I wrote a book called Blue Smoke and Black Ink, where it's 100 writers that I've known or admired, and I'll just contact them and talk about them or talk with them. Or if they're deceased, like on the wall there, you can see letters from a guy named George V. Higgins and Elmore Leonard and P.G. Woodhouse. If they're a writer of the past, I just pay tribute to them. I'll either get their agent or their researcher or their manager and talk to him about it. So this has nothing, this is completely a pat on the back for me.
Yeah.
But I hope
And
people tune it in.
and Mr. D, we're happy to leave a link in our with our podcast too. So
Yeah,
if people
that-
pull it up, they can
Oh,
find your
that
link.
would be great. Yeah, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
love to have that link to the podcast, maybe the most recent one, and then also to Jamie Lynn.
To Jamie's book. Yeah. Could you
Yeah,
send those
called
links to
Jamie's
us, Mr. D?
What's that?
Could you
I don't
send
think
those
we ever
links
gave
to?
Jodi a chance to talk about anything that we wanted to. As usual, I just started yapping away. But
Well,
you go
no.
ahead, Jodi.
So this podcast was dedicated to you and how you inspired me as a student, and then many years later as a writer. And I wanted your story to get out, and how how you did that, how we connected, and it was kind of through Jamie Lynn later in the later years, unfortunately. And so that's really all I wanted. I wanted for you was to come on and just, give a little glimpse of our background, our past history and from Winooski, your, the inspiration that you gave to me as a student, back in high school. You don't even know it, Mr. D, but you paved a road for me that I followed. And it was as a writer. And I'm forever appreciative to you for that, for helping me with my book, helping me get through all those nitty gritty details, writing the foreword, and just being a part of that whole process. It really meant a lot to me.
Oh,
It was
thank you,
it was like a full circle moment for me, like,
Beautiful.
because this is what you taught me, and this is the end result. I gave you the end result of what path you paved for me. And to me, I don't know. To me, it's just a beautiful story.
Yeah, thank you so
I'm
much. That makes
teary
me
over
feel
here,
so
by
good.
the way.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But that's just how much Mr. D means to me. And it's too bad we had all those years of disconnect. We didn't have social media. Mr. D moved out of Vermont and I didn't. And so thankfully for social media, we've reconnected, originally just as friends. And now it's more like we're back to the student teacher kind of thing. And
Beautiful.
like I said, it's like a full circle moment for me. And I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Jodi. I appreciate you.
Yeah. So, as we mentioned in our last podcast, we are going to end our podcast before our prayer by honoring the soldiers that we've lost in the Iran war. And so, with great respect, honor, and gratitude, we would like to honor Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, Sergeant First Class Nicole Amore, Sergeant Declan Cody, Jeffrey O'Brien, Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzin, Major John Clinner, Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, Captain Ariana Savano, Tech Sergeant Ashley Pruitt, Captain Seth Koval, Captain Curtis Angst, and Tech Sergeant Tyler Simmons.
Thank you, Jodi. Let's have a word of prayer together as we close. Father in heaven, we are so grateful for those you bring into our lives to be encouragers, to be those that see things in us that we don't see in ourselves, and to bring those things forward. And so we thank you for Jim and what he represents in Jodi's life. And we're reminded that it's very likely we're have a role like that too somewhere. And so help us to be good stewards of the friendships you've given us and the roles you've given us and the opportunities you've given us to encourage and build up one another. We tend to live in a world that doesn't do much building up, but kind of seems to go the other way right now. And so we pray that we would have the strength to be people that do encourage others. We do pray for the families of those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice in our conflict in Iran, and we also pray that would come to a soon end. We just ask that voices of peace might be heard, and that peace might be realized in that area. Father, thank you so much for what we've enjoyed today in terms of memories, in terms of encouragement, in terms of just your goodness to go ahead of us and set up these little meetings in life. We appreciate it. We ask that you would continue to be with us. We pray for Jodi's health. We pray for each of us as we go about our daily lives. We thank you so much. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Very nice. Thank you, Ken.
From our kind hearts to your strong souls, thank you for listening. Your support helps us share hope. So please leave a rating, a like, a subscribe to the podcast, and share frequently. Peace be with you all, and God bless you.